An amazing miracle was just revealed just a couple weeks ago in Nuremberg, Germany. My colleague Rabbi Eliezer Chitrik, who is the Chabad rabbi in Nuremberg, Germany, has been there to revive Judaism since the dark days of the Holocaust. He receives a letter. The letter reads as follows: Dear Rabbi, in 1938, just before Kristallnacht, which was on November 9 and 10 of 1938, where the Germans came and burnt down numerous synagogues, sent 30,000 Jewish men to labor camps, murdered innocents on the streets, which was the beginning of the Holocaust. There was a beautiful synagogue in Nuremberg called Adat Israel. Stood tall and beautiful. As a matter of fact, this year, just a couple months ago, a woman found in her basement an archive of pictures that were never revealed before. For 84 years, they remained in her basement. That her grandfather took pictures, he was a journalist, of what happened that night of Kristallnacht. An amazing up-close and personal pictures of Adat Israel being destroyed, up in flames. And the letter reads on that my uncle, he was 10 years old, went to the synagogue Adat Israel just before Kristallnacht, and he saw a golden menorah that he decided to take. And he stole this beautiful golden menorah from the congregation and brought it home. Nuremberg was a great Jewish community, very well populated, until the Nazis came and there were no Jews left in Nuremberg. When his father discovered the menorah that his 10-year-old son stole, he was so infuriated, so angry, he actually gave this son a slap in his face. How dare you steal a menorah from the synagogue? We must return this. However, there was no synagogue to return it anymore. So this menorah remained with the family for the last 84 years. Until recently, when this family met a Mrs. Weiss in Switzerland, who came from Nuremberg and shared with them the journey of the Jewish community as they were prior to the Holocaust and what they suffered through the Holocaust. And when she mentioned about all this suffering they've went through, a light bulb went up and says, 1 second, we have in our possession this golden menorah that belonged to the synagogue that my uncle stole when he was 10 years old. And Mrs. Weiss suggested, it would be a good idea if you returned that menorah back to the synagogue where it was stolen from. And dear Rabbi, please allow me to have the opportunity to return this menorah to its rightful owner. You could only imagine what emotions this evoked by the rabbi. A menorah that has been in hiding for 84 years, that used to be lit in the synagogue, that was destroyed at Kristallnacht, now being returned. And sure enough, they set up an appointment, and the family presented to Rabbi Chitrik this beautiful golden menorah, which Rabbi Chitrik said this year Hanukkah, he is going to kindle this menorah this year Hanukkah 2022. A journey of 84 years. The menorah that once was lit so beautifully in Congregation Adat Israel has been rekindled yet once again. And the rabbi explains the emotions, what it was like to rekindle this menorah that remained dormant for 84 years. Pondering, if anyone was there witnessing Kristallnacht on November 9 and 10, 1938, and to seeing the destruction of the Jewish world beginning in Nuremberg, they would have predicted that that was the end of Judaism. Losing 6,300,000 children, murdered so innocently. One could have surmised that that was the end of Judaism. But here we are, 84 years later. The menorah survives. Judaism survives. And back in Nuremberg, we are able to rekindle this amazing menorah. What a beautiful Hanukkah miracle for us to think about. To think about the journey and the commitment of what Judaism is all about. Realizing that the light of the Hanukkah menorah, that the candles that lights up our Hanukkah menorah are candles that transcend, that survives Holocaust, pogroms, Kristallnachts, the worst of darkness. But yet, the candle remains lit to push away darkness. And this resonates with me personally. April 27, 2019, a 19-year-old terrorist breached our synagogue with the intent to exterminate everyone who was praying there. He came with enough ammunition to kill all 60 of us that were there that morning, the last day of Passover. I was standing in the lobby talking to Mrs. Lori Lynn Kay and smiling at her to see her last smile before the terrorist entered and shot her with 4 bullets, killing her instantly. Then the terrorist turned his AR-15 high-powered rifle at me and shot 4 bullets towards me as I was running towards the children to save the children. 2 bullets succeeded in blowing away my 2 index fingers, but the rest of me survived, miraculously. But I survived for purpose, for a reason. So I too can be a shamish. I too can be a candle to spread the light that's going to push away the darkness, to talk about the miracles that happened those days and in this time as well. I'll never forget that right after I brought the children to safety, I ran back up to the line of fire. I went looking to see who else can I save and help, only to find out that our congregation has been able to chase away this terrorist who fled the scene and eventually surrendered. However, I was looking for my congregation and I found them all huddled, terror-stricken on the sidewalk. And I knew I had to say something to them. I grabbed a chair and I stood up on the chair. At the time, both of my fingers were bleeding profusely with the arteries severed. I wrapped it in prayer shawls, 2 prayer shawls, and I stood up on the chair and I told the congregants, just 1 week before, we were sitting by the Seder table. And at the Seder table, we read the prayer that in every generation they rise up against us, but God spares us. And so too today, once again, this white supremacist, anti-Semite terrorist tried to come and annihilate us. But God spared us. Sadly, we lost Mrs. Lori Lynn Gilbert Kay, my dear friend, but everyone else was spared. We must remember the 3 most powerful words that I shouted out with all my might. Am Yisroel Chai. Am Yisroel Chai. And I insisted that everyone screams it with me. The nation of Israel lives on. The lesson that I learned from this story, from the menorah that was recovered from Nuremberg, Germany, from 1938, that just got revealed in 2022, is a message from God to all of us. God has not forgotten us. God has witnessed all of our suffering. And it reminds us that the light of Hanukkah will always illuminate the world. The lights of Hanukkah will journey from 2,000 years, but is still here today. And the lesson from Hanukkah is that we all can be a candle. We can light up this world. We have a mission to be able to take our own candle and light up the next person's candle and light up this world. A little bit of light pushes away a lot of darkness. I hope this story inspired you, and I hope you realize that you too can be a candle. You too can light up this world by doing your part of doing random acts of kindness and keep on bringing light into the world that will push away the darkness that's out there. Please kindly subscribe to this channel and pass it along so this message can reach many, because you never know the next mitzvah that will be accomplished that will help tilt the scale and create the biggest light to push away all the darkness and see better and greater times. God bless you. God loves you.